Okay, folks. Well, thought I'd go ahead and give everybody an update. So, a lot of times we get jubilated when we have a project that's gone so easy and we're right there getting ready to go across the finish line. This Camaro is a perfect example of that. The 69 Camaro, we just built a 496 big block Chevy with aluminum heads and roller cam. Runs really good. Got the engine in the car with the new oil pan, clearance for a stroker with a 4250 stroke, I think is what it has. Did a couple driveway burnouts in it and sounded really strong, really promising. So yesterday, as I do with all these installs, once I get the engine in the car, I have to test drive it. I'll test drive it to make sure there's no leaks, there's no vibrations, issues, all kinds of things. So I took it down the street here and man, it's really strong. One thing I did notice is the transmission is short-lived, not long for this world. The transmission definitely slips really bad. So I go down maybe a quarter of a mile, probably more like an eighth of a mile. I turn right into somebody's driveway to turn around, back out. I'm coming back down the street and I notice it looks like a mosquito truck behind me. And I've got oil coming from I'm thinking it's oil. So I just kill it, let it coast into the driveway here. That's how close I was. Freaking out, making sure it's not an electrical fire because this car has all kinds of electrical issues. Get it into the shop with my nice oil trail from the street and on into our driveway. And I see oil pouring. I thought that the drain plug came out of the freaking pan. Freaking out. I still had good oil pressure when I came in. It was really weird. First thing I did was look at my oil pressure. I had, I think, 50 pounds. So, come on over here and I'll show you. So as I get it on the rack, it's still leaking. So I see the drain plug still in. Well, if you look right here, this is our new little hole that we got. If you look at that, see that nice pretty hole? Well, when I turned right, when I went to turn right to my neighbor's driveway, guess what happened? This neat little grease zerk that you use to service the tie rod ends, right there. Yeah, that little thing decided to stick his head in the inside of the oil pan and say hello. Yeah, lucky me. So this little bad boy here plunged into the side of the oil pan. So guess what I got to do? I got to pull the oil pan out of this car. Well, this is for a stroker. And in these big block Camaros, that oil pan doesn't come out very easily. Matter of fact, you got to pull the flywheel. That's what I had to do anyway. Had to pull the flywheel, pull the transmission, of course. And then we tried with the pole jacks to do it from under the car and lift the engine up. No. So we had to let it down, use a cherry picker to pull the engine up high enough so it clear the rods and the caps to get this thing out. Now here's what really pisses me off. This oil pan I bought from Summit, and I did my research. And the research, it fits a 69 Camaro with power steering, big block Chevy. Hey, and you know, when we installed this engine, I thought, wow, the pan's got plenty of clearance between the cross member and the sump. Oh man, this is great. Well, one of the things they didn't tell you is to remove the damn grease zerk off the tie rod end or check the tie rod end clearance. Now look, I should have probably gone in and cycled the wheels back and forth, left and right. But I called Summit with this part number and they said this is an anomaly that shouldn't have happened. So I've got to call in with Moroso. I've got to speak to Moroso Monday. I want to ask all you big block Chevy Camaro owners out there that have a stroker, do you have any suggestions on an oil pan that won't have the tie rod end crash into the side of the sump with the grease zerk? I know they make a million Camaros, so I know that there's a right pan. I just got lucky enough that it happened to me. So luckily we didn't sacrifice the engine, we had plenty of oil in it. had tons of oil in it, had plenty of oil pressure. Had I gone on a further drive, be a different story, and maybe not known it fast enough. But yeah, you notice it pretty quick, and it's pouring oil off the top of the headers. So this was a mess. So another thing, you know, the transmission probably didn't come back out anyway. The customer doesn't know much about the car. This was probably a drag car at one time. The engine needs to be overhauled. I mean, excuse me, the transmission needs to be overhauled. You know, I don't want to deliver a car to somebody with a brand new engine and then they can't drive it because, you know, they're going to make about 2 or 3 passes in this car and then the transmission's toast, it's done. The transmission's already out, so discussed it with the customer. He said, yes, by all means, please. So transmission need to be overhauled anyway. It's a mess. It's a turbo 350, which, you know, behind a big block Chevy stroker, yeah, you Chevy guys probably know better than I do, but that probably should have had a turbo 400 in it to be able to. I don't think GM put any turbo 350s behind the big blocks. So that's what's going on here. We went from being super happy to super pissed and super frustrated. And yeah, this is all the nightmare stuff you get to have fun with these cars. Oh, by the way, I want to say something real quick about Derek, Vice Grip Garage. I love that guy. He's got the coolest videos. But when he sits there and talks about how real starters are GM starters, I love GM starters. No, they suck. No, they suck. The starters don't suck, but this BS of having to shim them, I don't have to shim Ford and Chrysler starters. GM, yeah. It took us a bit to figure out what shims to put in this thing. So, yeah, they all have their bads. Well, I'm going to tell you, Derek, yeah, no, the starter arrangement on a GM, they suck. All right, let's go on in here. So, Johnny's 68 Charger's back. Why is it back? Well, of course, we built a 489 stroker for it, and we put a Holly Sniper EFI system on it. He's been driving it about 6 months, all over, running like a champ. I get a call a couple of weeks ago. He and his wife were out cruising, and then he said, man, it starts up and runs for a little bit, and then it dies. It just quits on me. Well, the only thing we did not change in this car was someone else had already put an EFI ready fuel tank in this car. He said, hey, it's brand new. I mean, it doesn't have 500 miles on it. I said, yeah, I agree, it's working. So we went ahead and went with what he had that somebody else put in this car. So let me show you what we ran into. When we took this fuel tank out, I noticed it had, and Holly doesn't do this with any of their tanks, but it had a bladder that the pump sat down into, and it's just a little pump. And then this sat around inside of this bladder, this foam piece. I'm not sure why they did that, but the first thing we noticed once we got the tank out and removed the pump assembly from the top is metal shavings inside the tank. So whoever drilled the plate, they just took a brand new, B-body gas tank, and then they dropped it, and then they drilled it, and then we found metal shavings in it. So what we did was cleaned it all out, and then after that, we saw, you see all this. See all that dirt? So we're pretty sure, you see all that now. All this nice dirt. So that's another thing we found. So the pump was going out prematurely. The pump, what happened was it would sit there and run for a while, and then it'd get hot, and then it would go out. So he's got his new pump in now without all of this mess, and the tank has been cleaned out, and he should be good to go. We also have the steering box from Firmfill. We put a Firmfill Stage 2 steering box on this car, and ended up it worked great, drives wonderful. But about a year later, we started getting the oil leak under the dome on this car. So we had to end up pulling the box back out, sending it up to Washington State. And that's where it's at now. They're covered under warranty, but it shouldn't be leaking under that dome. So that's why Johnny's Charger's back. So hey, that's what happens, and I'm sure he was saying he wished he would change the tank out at some time. So coming over here, we got Johnny's new steering wheel on, an RT steering wheel, what's supposed to be on the car, trying to finish that up. And then come over here, I finally made the decision and bought something for myself, but I have to get all these other cars done. So obviously I'm on the back burner. But I pulled the trigger. I said, I'm tired of not having an overdrive. I'm tired of trying to make decisions on this automatic, that automatic. So this came in the mail yesterday, was delivered yesterday. It's our new Silver Sport 5-speed conversion for B-body Mopar. So now Darren finally has an overdrive, and it's a stick. So the rest of the boxes are in the garage, the pedal assembly, the Slave Master, everything comes from Silver Sport. This kit costs me, I think with taxes and shipping, was $6,800 delivered to my door. So we're gonna get this installed later on in the year. So that's what's happening there. Glenn, your block is about to go to the machine shop for your Pontiac. Simon, your big block Chevy is waiting cam bearings. Glenn, your 318 stroker is waiting cam bearings. And the 318 is probably going to be the next one from the shop. So all your engines, for you guys, those are on their way. And Craig, your car is, as soon as we get done with that Oldsmobile, your car is in. Mario, as soon as the Camaro's done, Eleanor's coming in. So we have some dominoes that are trying to fall right now, but you know, we got a setback like we usually do on these cars with Camaro. So what should have taken 2 weeks, probably going to take us a month, but we're going to try to get it done before the end of the month because we really got to get Mario's Mustang in. So I hope everybody's having a great weekend. Ours didn't turn out so great. We got some exciting news on the Apache coming. The Apache's looking really good for my brother and his friend Carl Black. Really spectacular things coming for the Apache. So hope everybody has a great weekend. Thanks.